The restaurant hummed with lunchtime conversation and clinking glasses. Nathan Pierce checked his phone for the third time, wondering if his blind date would actually show up. At 35, he'd reluctantly agreed when his business partner had insisted on setting him up with her friend. "She's perfect for you," Michelle had promised. Smart, kind, and she specifically asked to meet at Giovanni's. Nathan had been surprised by the restaurant choice. It was nice but not overly fancy, with good food and a relaxed atmosphere. He appreciated that she hadn't chosen somewhere pretentious. A woman approached his table. She was pretty, with long, wavy hair and warm eyes, wearing a simple white blouse and red skirt. She seemed nervous. "Nathan Pierce?" she asked. "That's me." "You must be—" "I'm sorry, Michelle told me your name, but I'm blanking." "It's okay. I'm Sophie. Sophie Anderson." She extended her hand, and Nathan shook it, noticing how her hand trembled slightly. They sat down and ordered drinks. Nathan tried to start the usual first-date small talk, but Sophie seemed distracted, emotional even. She kept looking at him with an expression he couldn't quite read, gratitude mixed with something deeper. "Are you okay?" Nathan finally asked. "You seem upset." Sophie took a shaky breath. "I need to be honest with you. This isn't exactly a blind date. I mean, Michelle set it up thinking it was, but I have a different reason for being here." Nathan felt his guard go up. "What do you mean?" "I'm just here to say thank you." Sophie's eyes filled with tears. "You saved my brother's life 2 years ago, and you never let us properly thank you. You disappeared before we could." Nathan's mind raced, then landed on a memory he'd tried not to think about too often. "The car accident on Highway 5? The fire?" "Yes," Sophie whispered. "My brother David was trapped in his car after the collision. It caught fire and everyone just stood there watching, too scared to help. Except you. You ran toward the burning car and pulled him out. The police report said you risked your life, that the car exploded less than a minute after you got him clear." Nathan shifted uncomfortably. "I just did what anyone would have done." "No, you did what no one else did. 20 people stood there watching my brother die, and you were the only one who acted." Sophie wiped her eyes. "By the time the ambulance came, you were gone. David was unconscious and no one got your name. The police tried to find you, but you'd left the scene before they could get a statement." "I don't like attention," Nathan said quietly. "Your brother was safe. The paramedics were there. I wasn't needed anymore. We've been looking for you for 2 years. David wanted to thank you, to tell you that he's alive because of you. We hired investigators, put ads in papers, but you're not on social media and you kept such a low profile. Then last week, Michelle mentioned she was setting up her business partner on a blind date, showed me your photo, and I knew it was you." Nathan felt stunned. "So this whole date is my way of finally being able to say thank you." "Michelle doesn't know. She just thinks she's matchmaking. But I needed to meet you, to tell you what your courage meant to our family." "How is David?" Nathan asked, the question he'd wondered about for 2 years but never followed up on. "He's wonderful. Fully recovered, married last year, has a baby on the way. He coaches Little League and volunteers at the fire department teaching kids about safety. He's living the life he almost lost, and it's all because of you." Nathan felt emotion rise in his throat. "I'm glad he's okay. That's all I wanted, just to know he made it. He wants to meet you." "My whole family does. They're actually here." Sophie gestured toward a table across the restaurant, where a man who looked like an older version of Sophie sat with a woman and a younger man. "That's David," Sophie said. "And my parents. They've been waiting, giving us time to talk first. Would you be willing to meet them? To let them say thank you?" Nathan looked at the family across the restaurant. The young man, David, was watching with tears streaming down his face. When their eyes met, David stood up, pressing his hand to his heart in a gesture of gratitude so profound it needed no words. "Yes," Nathan said softly. "I'd like that." The next hour was overwhelming. David hugged Nathan like a brother, crying openly. Sophie's parents held his hands and thanked him with voices breaking. They told him about David's recovery, the burns, the physical therapy, the trauma counseling, about how they'd almost lost him and how Nathan's split-second decision had given them their son back. "Why did you do it?" David asked. Everyone else was afraid. "Why did you run toward the fire?" Nathan thought about how to answer. 5 years ago, my little sister died in a car accident. I wasn't there. I've spent every day since wishing I could have saved her. When I saw your car burning, I didn't think. I just knew I couldn't stand there and watch someone die when I had the chance to act. I couldn't lose someone else. The table went silent. Sophie reached across and took Nathan's hand. "I'm so sorry about your sister," she said. "What was her name?" "Emma. She was 19. Drunk driver hit her on her way home from college. She died instantly." Nathan's voice cracked. "I think that's why I left after pulling David out. I couldn't face the gratitude, couldn't accept praise when I'd failed to save the person who mattered most." "You didn't fail, Emma," David said firmly. "You weren't there. You couldn't have saved her. But you were there for me, and you did save me. That matters, Nathan. That counts." They talked for 2 more hours, sharing stories, exchanging numbers, making plans to stay in touch. When they finally prepared to leave, Sophie's parents insisted on paying for everything. "I know we can never truly repay you," her father said. "But please, let us do this small thing." After her family left, Sophie and Nathan stood outside the restaurant. "I'm sorry I wasn't honest about why I wanted to meet," Sophie said. "I know this wasn't what you expected from today." "It was better," Nathan admitted. "These past 2 years I've wondered about David. Hoped he was okay, but felt weird about tracking him down. Getting to meet him, to see that he's thriving, that means more than you know. Would you want to have dinner sometime? Actually get to know each other outside of dramatic life-saving contexts?" Nathan smiled. "Are you asking me on a real date?" "I am. Because today I met someone incredibly brave and humble who saved my brother's life and won't accept credit for it. I'd like to get to know that person better if he's interested." "I'm interested," Nathan said. "But you should know, I'm not good at accepting praise. I'm not comfortable being seen as a hero. I'm just someone who did what felt right." "That's exactly what makes you heroic," Sophie said. "Real heroes don't think they're special. They just act when action is needed." They dated slowly over the following months. Sophie introduced Nathan to the parts of her life she'd built. She was a teacher who specialized in helping kids with learning disabilities. Nathan shared his own story, building his consulting business, the grief he still carried for Emma, the guilt that made him uncomfortable with attention. "You save people in different ways now," Sophie told him one evening. "Your business helps struggling companies survive, gives people jobs. That's saving lives too, just differently." David became Nathan's close friend. They worked out together, went to ball games, talked about life and second chances. David's baby was born, a girl they named Emma, in honor of Nathan's sister and the second chance at life he'd been given. A year after their unconventional first meeting, Nathan proposed at Giovanni's, at the same table where Sophie had first said, "Thank you." "You came to this restaurant to thank me for one moment of courage," Nathan said. "But you've given me something much more valuable, purpose. You've shown me that saving David wasn't just about that one day. It was about all the days that followed. The life he's lived, the family he's built, the kids he coaches. You've helped me forgive myself for not being able to save Emma by showing me that the life I did save mattered enormously." Sophie cried as she said yes. "You thought you were just meeting someone for a blind date. You didn't know you'd be meeting a whole family who loves you for giving them back their son and brother." At their wedding, David gave the best man speech. "Nathan saved my life, but I think Sophie saved his." He'd been carrying guilt for a death he couldn't prevent, punishing himself by refusing recognition for a life he did save. Sophie showed him that heroism isn't about seeking praise. It's about accepting that your actions matter, that the lives you touch are changed forever. Years later, when Emma, David's daughter, was old enough to understand, they told her about the day Uncle Nathan had saved her father's life, about bravery and second chances and how one split-second decision had allowed her entire life to exist. "So if Uncle Nathan hadn't been brave, I wouldn't be here?" Emma asked. "That's right," David said. "He gave me my future, which means he gave you yours too." Nathan, holding his and Sophie's own daughter, thought about the restaurant meeting that had changed everything. About thinking he was going on a blind date and instead receiving a gift he didn't know he needed. Absolution, gratitude. and the chance to see that his moment of courage had rippled outward in ways he'd never imagined. "Thank you for finding me," he told Sophie that night, "for not letting me disappear, for making me face what I'd done and accept that it mattered." "Thank you for running toward the fire," Sophie replied, "for being brave when everyone else was afraid, for giving my family back our future and giving me the chance to love the most genuinely heroic person I've ever met. Because sometimes what seems like a blind date is actually destiny completing its work. Sometimes thank you is the beginning of forever. And sometimes the people we save end up saving us right back, showing us that our pain and our courage are both meaningful, both necessary, both part of the story that leads us home. If this story moved you, please like, share, and subscribe for more tales about courage, gratitude, and unexpected love. Comment about someone whose bravery changed your life. Those moments of courage echo forever.